pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody tonight and those watching on Facebook Live. Future board meetings November 23rd, December 14th of this year, January 11th, 2022, all 6 p.m. at this building. We have no revisions of the agenda except for we've added a couple of things under recognition and new business. I guess that's technically a revision of the agenda. So we'll move on to public recognition. We have a recommendation to approve a $1,000 donation from Carrie and Nancy Hamill for Southwood High School Wrestling. I'm just going to do all these together. Recommendation to approve a $300 donation from MSD of Wabash County for Southwood High School Wrestling. Recommendation to approve a $200 donation from Early Learning Indiana Quality Program Study for Metro North's Little North Program. A recommendation to approve my $1,500 donation to be used for $500 for Little Knights 3-year programs, $500 for Little North 3-year program, $250 scholarship for Southwood High School Outstanding Band Senior, and $250 scholarship for Outstanding Northwood High School Band Senior.
And I would like to mention one thing. This is a little unusual that we haven't done before, but on number 2, the $300 donation from MSD of Wabash County, they actually did some work to raise some funds. And so they took care of some trees and some landscaping and different things like that that we would have either done ourselves or probably some of it we paid someone else. So instead of paying someone else, we paid the Southwood wrestlers that they did that. So, and there might be some more things like that that they'll do. So Coach Hamill came up with that idea and we approved it and think it's a good thing to be able to give back the work that they do for the corporation and to their program.
Well, as usual, we appreciate the donations. Thank you, Todd. So I move to approve.
Second. Motion and second to approve the donations. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Senior school recognition, students and staff. Mr. McDivitt.
Well, can I go ahead and do mine first, and then I'll do these, and we'll go with Mr. McDivitt, and then we'll go with our spotlight. So first of all, from Southwood Junior Senior High, from Mr. McDaniel, he writes, the Southwood community would like to recognize the Gridiron Knights as they ended their season against Adams Central. The Knights suffered a number of injuries this year, yet continue to play with courage and determination. Also, Southwood would like to recognize Miss Nee and both Southwood and Northwood students who presented the fall play Clue over the weekend. Students did a great job, so they did do that on Saturday with a matinee at 1 and then 7 that evening. Southwood Elementary, Mr. Boone writes that our robotics team organized a food drive to benefit the Blessings in a Backpack program last week. At last year's state robotics competition, our circuit knights were awarded the Jack Klein Memorial Award. Jack is a former Indianapolis public school student and robotics enthusiast who died after a battle with leukemia a few years ago. Winners of this award are asked to find ways to pay it forward in the communities throughout the year. Robotics team members helped to collect and count school donations last week. In all, 1,599 items were collected for Blessings in the Backpack. Our 6th grade team members and coaches used these food items to create a food sculpture as part of the contest held at November's First Friday event in Wabash to get area organizations involved in the drive to donate to Blessings in the Backpack. Southwood Elementary is super proud of our robotics teams for spearheading this school-wide collection, and to all of our Southwood Elementary School families for the tremendous response in helping our community. And I do want to say that they did do, did they do that sculpture? Did I read that? They did that sculpture, and I saw that. It was huge and it was really good. Did they actually have winners? Did they place in that?
They placed. They didn't win, but they placed.
I think they should have won because I saw the rest of them. So it was very, very good. Anyway, but I was not a judge. So
Hard finding good art critics these days. Very difficult.
I thought for sure they would have won. But anyway, and also Southwood Elementary, congratulations to the 6 students who were winners in the school portion of the Elks Hoop Shoot competition. 1 boy and 1 girl from each age group, 8, 9, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13, will now represent Southwood Elementary at the area competition to be held at Shark Creek Elementary on Saturday, December 4th. Good luck to our free throwers at the next level of competition. So that's all I have. So we now turn it over to Mr. McDivitt.
Thanks, Mr. Keypaper.
A couple of years ago, when I first came to White's, one of the things that I wanted to try to work on adding to what we do for our students is to add some art opportunities or things in the arts. And so a year ago, because we already had a teacher on staff that was a retired music teacher, Mr. Whitaker, we started a girls choir section a year ago. And that girls choir meets 2 times a week. But the other thing I knew we were missing was a legitimate art opportunity. Now, because so many of our kids are behind on credits, our primary objective really is credit recovery. We need to get kids an opportunity to get caught up on credits, and that is still our primary focus. However, I also know that, sometimes those art type classes are exactly what kids need to kind of just give their mind a different way to work, and then when they get back to algebra, hopefully they can, be better algebra students. So anyhow, last spring, I reached out to a couple people that I had connections with at Indiana Wesleyan, just say, hey, here's a vision I have for our school. If you ever have any like art therapy majors or art education majors that are looking for opportunity community service, let me know, send them my way. Long story short, we connected with a student at Indiana Wesleyan this year. Her name's Mackenzie Allison. She's been coming this semester 1 day a week on Thursdays and doing an art class for us. We started with just girls, and just recently we added the boys section. We don't do co-ed, but we separate them. And I want to sort of read you a couple comments that students sent me unsolicited about this art class just a couple weeks ago. So one student wrote me and said, I wanted to thank you for making art class possible for us. I really look forward to art every week. It is really nice to be able to have time to enjoy art, which is one of my favorite coping skills. And she just says, thank you. And then another student says, I really like art class. It's calming and fun and just something to do. I love painting and learning to draw things, and I just love it in general. Thank you for letting us have an art class. The intern, that's Miss Allison, that comes, I think her name's Michaela, that's pretty close, it's Mackenzie. She's very nice and she's fun and helps us out a lot. So, and again, the young lady's name is Mackenzie. She's doing a great job. When her first day in the building, and I'd already met her and I talked to her, of course, and the first day in the building, I actually missed her because she's young. So I don't know if Mrs. Zarl had that experience, but honestly, the young lady is doing a really nice job. And so our kids are benefiting from it, as their comments clearly show. And like I said, we just added a boys section last week. So just wanted to celebrate that. It's really cool.
Yeah, we thank Mr. McDivitt for that vision, because we know, like you said, the primary goal and objective for the students, but yet they have to have some other kind of releases, and I think that's really good, even with the choir and what they've done. And they've had some performances, right? And
we've had one
at
performance.
the chapel.
Yeah.
I was there at the chapel. They did a great job. The director, who was a teacher, who was a retired band choir director, he pretty much stood in the back and started, and they did really well. So it's neat to have those other opportunities in a situation where you don't necessarily have a lot of time with the kids, because they're not there for a long period of time. So thank you for that.
About how many kids is it? I don't remember.
For the art?
Yeah.
I think for the girls, we have 7, and of course, it's always fluctuating a bit. And last week, when we started with the boys, we started small. We'll see how it goes. I think we have 4 boys. So.
All right, for the spotlight, I'd like to have Shelley and Valerie come over here. Dr. Kuhn will get that camera put right on you. So again, we suspended our spotlight program last year because of COVID, and we brought it back this year. And so basically, the principal that comes to the meeting, which we have 1 per meeting, sometimes more than that, depends on what reason, then someone that has been nominated from that school will be selected, and Shelley nominated Valerie, and so I'm going to turn it over to Shelley to read what you had to say about her.
Valerie's a good friend, and she's a great coworker. And this is just what I had said in my nomination. I chose to nominate Valerie Trail because she is an advocate for students to become better readers, which help them become better students. Valerie works to ensure each student finds material that meets their interest and their reading abilities. Our kids come in, they can have a 2nd grade reading level, and they're a 16-year-old. So Valerie works very hard to find those books and those interests that will help them just become a better reader and build confidence in their abilities, which then spills over into their other academic classes as well. I guess I covered that part there. Valerie is quiet, conscientious, dedicated, and committed. Valerie is someone you can count on to go the extra mile. She can often be found staying late, coming in early, even days that are not contract days. So we appreciate Valerie.
All right. And before you leave, I did a picture there. Mr. McDevitt, I don't know, after they take the picture, if you want to mention anything too?
I would love to. So, because of COVID, there's been numerous times throughout the last 18 months where we've had cottages on quarantine. Sometimes all cottages have been on quarantine, and Mrs. Trail always makes library work in whatever way that she can make that work. Since kids can't come to the building, she'll take requests via, basically, I assume we do it via email or through Edmonton.
Yeah.
And she will get those books and have them delivered to the cottages and collect old books. So even when we're on quarantine, the library is open because of Mrs. Trail's going the extra mile.
One thing I want to mention too, First County Bank and Trust is really our sponsor, and like I said before the meeting, you'll be getting something. Don't know exactly what that is yet, but you'll be getting something, and thank you very much for your service. So thank you for coming. All right. And you're welcome to stay for the meeting, or you're welcome to leave too. So you'll miss a lot of excitement if you leave, but that's okay. All right, they're out of here.
We don't want to get,
Too excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, moving on to public comment for agenda items only. Delayed for the Facebook viewers, if there are any.
We're at 10, they're at 9 now.
No.
Okay.
Lost 1 minute.
You're tuned in for the spotlight. All right, so moving on to consent agenda items. First item is the approval of our minutes from the October 12th meeting.
I move to approve.
A second.
Motion and second to approve the minutes from our last meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Claims.
I have some questions. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Payroll.
So we have two payrolls, because we only had the one board meeting in October. Payroll number 7 represents the October 15th pay, which is what our payroll normally is. And then I was giving you a heads up at the last board meeting that the payroll number 8, which would have been the last one in October, would reflect all the retro pays from the teacher contracts. And so that's why it's higher than what it typically is on a monthly basis. So that does reflect all of the retro pays and some of the ECA pays that has started from the end of the fall season.
That number will drop back then a little bit.
It'll drop
because
down, yeah.
You're catching way up all the way back to
Sure.
contract start.
And it'll probably be anywhere between $20,000 to $25,000 more than what our payroll typically was, just because of the new increases to the teacher salaries and those types of things. And we'll still have some coaches that will still be paid out the next pay as well, from the end of the fall season.
I'll move to approve. It's payroll 7 and 8.
Yes.
Okay, both of those together.
Second.
Motion and second to approve payroll 7 and 8. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Financial summary.
Just end of the month cash balance report, it just kind of shows you the end statements for the month of October and where our fund balances ended at the end of the month. And so nothing really stands out. You know, the big thing that we did there was we made that transfer out of operations in the rainy day fund. Was really the only big adjustment that would probably be noticeable on there. But other than that, everything is still moving in the correct direction.
Yeah, I'd like to protect that rainy day fund the best we can, as we add to it, to build to the point you would like to see it.
Yep.
15.
Then we'll do the cash flow stuff the next board meeting. I'll have a better idea of what our reconciliation will be with our ADN count numbers for November and December. Those will be paid to us from Department of Ed, reconciled from our ADN count from what we estimated to what we actually had. And so since we estimated lower, our estimation was 2,000 students and our ADN ended up to be almost 2025. It would reflect that increase of 25 students.
We'll move on to personnel. Under personnel, under resignation, we have Heather Hayden, track coach at Southwood High School. Employment, Faye Satherwaite, paraprofessional at Metro North Elementary. Under retirement, we have Judy Decker, bus driver for the South, and that's effective at the end of this calendar year. Under leave, we have number 129, leave to extend to the end of the first semester. Additional coaches for the winter season for Northfield: Danielle Tolson, junior high girls basketball; Brian Hoffman, junior high girls basketball volunteer; Scott Hopper, junior high girls basketball volunteer; Chris Kuhn, 5th and 6th girls basketball volunteer; Kyle Oswald, junior high boys basketball volunteer; Ryan Du Bois, junior high boys basketball volunteer; and Alina Reed, junior high assistant cheer volunteer; Tiffany Stiff, 6th boys basketball; Jared Hopper, 3rd boys basketball; Todd McKillop, 4th grade boys basketball; Jason Dawes, 5th grade boys basketball; Chris Moore, 6th grade boys basketball; and Ari Kennedy, 8th grade girls basketball. Additional coaches for winter season for Southwood: Travis Eastholm, 7th grade boys basketball; Colt Wyatt, 6th grade boys basketball; Brian Bassett, 5th boys basketball; Nate Plyler, 6th grade boys basketball volunteer; Ryan Wilcox, junior high boys basketball volunteer; Ryan Chambers, junior high boys basketball volunteer; Ryan Pershing, elementary boys basketball volunteer; Tanner Wilcox, elementary boys basketball volunteer; and Jackson Taylor, wrestling volunteer; Danielle Shennefield, junior high cheer; Sean Klein, 5th grade girls basketball; Randy Pershing, 6th grade girls basketball; Adam Weiner, 7th grade girls basketball; and Chris Whitaker, 8th grade girls basketball. And yes, I did on purpose fly through those.
I'd like to talk about each one in there.
As Todd's reading those names, I just, because I experienced a little bit of this, I appreciate the people that are willing to commit. Because
I read an
there's
awful lot
early
of
mornings.
names with the word volunteer afterwards.
Yes. So, just want to acknowledge it. And Scott.
Yeah, I
Did you
volunteer
expect
without
that
knowing it. Congratulations. I have a daughter in there, so I guess I volunteered.
I will just take a second though to also speak to the retirement of Judy Decker. I know she's done a wonderful job for
Yes.
many years for Southwood.
She's driven the bus for over 40 years.
40 years.
Wow.
Yep, I was going to echo that too, so thank you for doing that, Tom.
Hopefully she might substitute.
I think she's done.
Not 40 years and one month, right?
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested in becoming a bus driver, see Melissa Ball here, 260-563-8050, option number 7.
I'll move to approve this. Appreciate it.
Second.
Motion and second to approve personnel. All in favor, say aye. Okay, we can skip past the Heartland Career Center report since Matt's not here. Superintendent's
I
report.
don't have anything tonight.
Okay. Curriculum and instruction.
Nothing to report
All
tonight.
right.
You guys do anything? Can I get you guys a few?
I could talk a lot.
Under new business, we have recommendation to approve a Metro North restroom renovation bid. You should have those in your packet.
Yes, so that's in your packet. When we took the bond out this past summer, the two main focuses were the roofs at Northfield and Southwood, and then the restrooms at Metro North Elementary. And so we put this as a winter project to hopefully draw more interest, and the more interest you draw, hopefully get more bids. We got a pretty good turnout. We had 5 bids turned in. And you can see the range of those bids was from a total anywhere between $302,000 up to $536,000. So that was a big range. When I had budgeted this around $300,000. My hope was not to spend more than that. And so we broke up the bids a little bit interestingly, just so we could be careful on what we got and maybe still be able to do something with our restrooms. So at Metro North, there are 4 sets of restrooms that we're going to be fixing up. 3 of them are student restrooms. And then 1 of them is the set of restrooms across from the nurse's office, which students also use, but they're more used for the public for the most part, because I believe they're just single stall anyway. And so the base bid that went out was to fix up the restroom across the nurse's office, and then 2 of the student pairs of restrooms. And then the alternate 2 was to cover the 3rd student set of restrooms. So the base bid and the alternate 2 would cover all of the restrooms. Then we put in 2 other alternates because those restrooms still have the old floor urinals that go from there all the way down to the floor. That really they don't put in the restrooms anymore because they don't necessarily meet, I think it was a health code. But anyway, the alternates were to take those urinals out and then replace them with the standard type of urinals. Obviously, that involves a little bit more of demolition and construction component. So the fear was that it may cost a little bit more, plus we wanted to stay out of an issue where we had to become fully ADA compliant in those restrooms, because then that would really increase the cost of that. We are going to make the restrooms across from the nurse's office ADA compliant, so that at least we have 1 set of restrooms in there that are wheelchair accessible. So anyway, with all that being said, the lowest bid was Shawnee Construction at $302,000, which actually covers all of the project, all the base bid and all of the alternatives, and it really stays around that budget number that we were shooting for. Otherwise, if the prices came in a lot higher, then we would have to look at maybe just doing the base bid, or maybe just doing the base bid and alternate number 2 and not really able to do the floor urinals at that point in time. So we felt very good about the bid that we got from Shawnee. We also got high recommendations from people that have worked with them. And so the plan is, with your approval of Shawnee, that they would start the ordering process to get the materials in so that they could start this winter with a time frame to end before the school started next fall. Hopefully, they'll get in and get out as quickly as possible anyway, because they'll want to get to do stuff in the summer and get out of our buildings and not waste that time there anyway. So
So what are they fixing in these bathrooms?
So they will replace everything. So stalls, urinals, stools. They will replace all the sinks and the hand washing stations. They'll replace the ceilings and the lights. And then they'll fix up the floor in areas that needs it fixed up.
As I recall, and I don't know if it made it into this, but there was a concern that the sink on the other side of the wall where teachers could not view that sink, is that going to get moved to the opposite side of that wall now with this? Remember, they were talking about the teachers wanted to be able to see the sink where the kids were, so they made
The hand washing
the
sink?
hand washing sinks.
So the hand washing sink will not be open. It'll
Okay.
just, the hand washing sink will be in the same spot. It'll
Okay.
be replaced with the old hand washing sink.
Okay, so it still will be.
So it will
in the
still be
view
behind,
of any
yeah.
teachers,
Yeah.
okay.
To do that would have been a much bigger project, because then you'd have to tear down walls
Mhm.
to combine the 2.
Yeah,
And
I
so
remembered that was on the wish list, but I didn't.
That was on the wish list.
But I didn't know if it actually made it into this.
Not to keep prices
Mhm.
where they need to be. This will give them what they need.
Okay.
if they do it in the winter, Chris, they understand the stage it, right? I mean,
Yeah, they are. So that's the plan. They would just block off one set of restrooms, work on that set, and then once that's finished, they'll block off another, and that leaves still 2 sets of student restrooms open, plus the one across from the nurse's office, so.
paint included.
Yep,
also.
yep.
Have we not hired Shawnee before, or they bid before?
They did before. I've never worked with them in my time, maybe in the past. Shawnee's done some things for us, but
The contingency never comes back to us, does it? That's just in there.
it's in there. If we don't use it, then it just doesn't get charged to us.
I move to approve.
Second that.
Motion and second to approve the renovation bids for Metro North. All in favor, say aye. Recommendation to approve the extended day field trip for Sharp Creek Elementary, 5th grade to Chicago.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and second to approve the field trip to Chicago. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Recommendation to approve the reappointment of Holly Kendall to serve on the Berlin Public Library Board of Trustees from January 26, 2022 to January 26, 2026.
I move to approve the recommendation.
I'll second.
Motion and second to reappoint Holly Kendall. I'm assuming that she wants to be reappointed to it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We have no unfinished business, no board policy, public comment on anything. We'll wait for Facebook to catch up. Or you guys.
Did you find out whether the state is contributing to the National School Board Association?
Yes, I did check, yes. They are not. I mean, we are not. We are not. When you say the state,
Yeah.
that was the question that was asked, and I think I gave that back to you guys. Yes, no, we are not.
Okay.
Chris McLean's comment.
Okay. Any items from board members?
No,
All right, we're adjourned.
appreciate the efficiency.
Thank you.